What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? My name is Jade, and this is the Here Is What We Know podcast, episode 21. I'm joined by Simon Anderson, the one with the good credit and the awesome hairstyle. Simon, how's it going?
Good afternoon, Jade Farrar. Always one with the lovely intros. So thank you for having me. It's good to see you as always.
I tried to change it up, and I wasn't even going to go where I went before the show, but it's good to see you. You're looking fresh, you're looking clean, so looking forward to a great episode this afternoon. But Simon, we have a difference in the question of the day. You're actually going to call it out today.
Yeah, well, I proposed that I had one saved in the bank, and you thought you'd call it an audible and just throw it to me live on air. So yeah, we're changing things up, and I'll actually have to help you on this one with getting the text up on the screen. So, do you want me to just to give it out? We just go straight into it.
Call it out, and then I'll throw it up on the slide.
All right. Okay. So I'm texting, talking, and typing at the same time. So this came to me while I was just driving in the car randomly, and I thought this would be a good one to have as a debate with Jade. So the question I thought was, should we tolerate bad traits?
Whoa, my brain is melting. Should we tolerate bad traits? And as always, ladies and gentlemen at home, we are streaming on Twitch and D-Live, so we can see your comments, and we'd love to know what you think. And that was me buying some time. Would you believe it, Simon?
Yes, well, I mean, I can buy some time and go and give you kind of where I was thinking with the question.
Yeah, you do that, and I'll prepare the slide.
Okay, sure thing. So I guess like this came to me as I was thinking about, like where would we be as a community and a country, and then just in the different connections of humans, where would we all be if we took a completely drastically different approach to how we approach our own lives and everybody else's lives around us that we influence, and we just had this culture of just relentlessly enforcing the growth of each other. Like it's not like, what I'm trying to say is we should be punishing everybody for everything that they do, really horrible, and thrown in jail and stuff. But what I'm talking about is, I think we should be able to build each other up and call out each other and allow each other to influence each other for the better, in a way where we, if we love and care for people or want people to do better for themselves, we, say what's necessary, we do what's necessary for people and for ourselves, and it's not like I'm saying this from this high horse of being completely disciplined and structured and this elite human that has no bad traits. But I think what I'm saying with this question is, I would love for us to live in a place where we are brought up, and it's instilled from us in a young age that as a community we are there to be these consistent benchmarks and companions and competitors all in one, as we just don't tolerate bad traits in each other's, because we want to see the best versions of each other.
You're really speaking to continuous improvement, right? You're like, what would society be like if we literally lived inside an agile, continuous improvement loop? Is that what you're saying? I want to make sure.
Yeah, but it's that, but then it also has a layer applied to it where there is a real humanistic approach to it, that it's not just completely devoid of the this sort of spiritual aspect of it, where being part of a larger connected group of people striving for a group purpose is beneficial to people on an individual level, whether instead of just being, you get a little screen that's an AI robot that spits out all the things that you need to improve on for the day to optimize yourself. That's different.
So should we tolerate bad traits? So my brain automatically goes, Simon, who determines what is bad? And then my immediate gut thought is that I think the problem with society right at the moment is that we genuinely reward bad behavior. Okay, let me talk to you straight, because I know you're really respectful on my platform, and you don't speak as rough as I do when we're on here. But let's look at the example of Kim Kardashian, right? She puts a in her mouth, she records it, and now she's like a business mogul. We rewarded her for that for some reason, and that's not slut shaming. I didn't say anything that was shaming about her. It's just the fact. She put it in her mouth, she recorded it, now she's a billionaire. Like, how does that even work out?
Well, it was just not just the average one. I think that's the difference. She managed to make it a real famous one that she could get in her mouth, and she had, she's their whole family is so weird, and on some level, that just the fact they've created such a huge mafia, pretty much the Kardashian mafia. There's sisters and brothers and partners and parents, all with multi-million dollar worths for themselves. They've created the Kardashian mafia, all thanks to a lawyer dad and Kim working as Paris's assistant back in the days and learning all the tricks of the trade, and then just absolutely doing it 10 times better.
Yeah. And so there's that, and there's the Epstein stuff, which I'm so glad that you've covered for us here on the show. There's all of that. There's like, what does it mean to be elite? Apparently it has lots to do with children. Not really sure why, and maybe you can do a bit of a recap for us on that, Simon. But I think, to the question, let me answer your question, should we tolerate bad traits? I think the best I could say on this question of the day, and I actually really love it, Simon, so get used to doing more of these. I really enjoy it. The best I can say is I think we should really go inward on this question and say, I'm not really into some of the bad traits that I have, and I should be doing more to solve those. Yeah, like, I'm not into them, and I wish I had more tools and people to help me get rid of them. What are they? So that'd be a question that someone might be asking if they're watching this. One of my bad traits, similar to something you've mentioned on a previous episode, Simon, I tend to procrastinate, and I tend to be a crunch performer. So I'm all for output, and I'm all for getting things done, but I could do more to have prepared well in advance, and I tend not to do that.
Yeah, you just got the two modes, which is no and go,
No and go, yeah.
Yeah.
It all gets done in the end, but I have people in my life that are like methodical, well prepared, insanely just organized people, and I don't relate to them at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do my best to instill that as part of my lifestyle, but it's not natural. It does not come natural.
Okay, so that's one that we share. What about another one, Simon? What would you be calling out as a bad trait?
Oh, discipline and gluttony, I guess, in that I rebound between the two.
Gluttony, that's heavy, bro.
or just to like use the word, I pig out on bad food as a reward for like keeping to a schedule or something.
Yeah.
I'll yeah, I'll definitely indulge in not like cheap, dirty McDonald's and stuff. I hate that nonsense, but I'll treat myself to nice takeaway food a few too many times. So just support discipline and aspects like that. Another one, bro, that's important that probably a few people don't realize how important it is like sleep. I definitely don't sleep enough as I should.
Man, you and I are more similar than you realize. Actually, I don't sleep nearly at all. I think I told you one time when we used to work together. I think I sleep about 3 hours a night.
Mm. Yeah, that's
That is
crazy.
so toxic, bro.
Yeah, you can be so productive. You've got all these extra hours to do stuff.
And I'm not. Oh, that's insane.
Nothing, nothing worse than being awake at 2 a.m. going, oh, I can't sleep, and then thinking, oh, I'm not even using this time productively while I'm wide awake.
We're just going down rabbit holes and think about what we're going to talk about on the podcast. In a way, that's fairly productive, bro. That's fairly
Yeah,
productive.
yeah. Now all that time I spend online is just research prep for the podcast.
So, should we tolerate bad traits? You never actually answered the question. You did well to prepare it for us, Simon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that my argument was leaning towards no, we shouldn't. I was, as I was saying, I guess I was qualifying it with we we should exist in a society where that feedback happens constructively, and I mean, it's pretty utopian thinking, because as soon as somebody even says anything slightly critical of most people, they completely shut down and lash out and freak out. Um, so I mean, I don't think we're anywhere near close to seeing that happen. But yeah, I mean, that's what I think we definitely should not tolerate bad traits.
Before we move on to the story part of the show, one thing I really do think about when I see this question is, so we want to be a society that's better with money. We want to be a society that's better informed around natural resources and how we treat the environment generally. It doesn't escape me though, Simon, that we don't really teach that in school. Young people are not taught a damn thing about money or taxes until they maybe take a business class in year 12.
Exactly, man. Why not talk about the history of money? Why not talk about how things went from bartering through to another medium of exchange, and now the bloody receipt paper world that we live in now, where no currency is truly backed by anything except for the faith in it, except for one mighty currency that is going to be taking over the world in the next wee while, maybe. But
Like I've got people very close to me that receive their paycheck, and for whatever reason, there might be some variance in it because of public holidays and all that. And I said, oh, I'll say things like, oh, have you really doubled back and made sure those allocations are accurate? Because with the work I do, I've come to understand that not all of the calculations that have been done by software like Datacom and others, I'm not calling out Datacom, just an example as a main one, they're not actually 100% accurate all the time. But I've got people around me, friends, family, that just look at the pay slip and go, oh yeah, that must be accurate. You gotta check it yourself, bro. But then how do they? You know what I
actually, they've got
mean?
no idea. You ask them what's your net or gross wages, or what's your take home pay. Well, that's what they know. That's all they know is their take home pay, because that's what turns up in their bank account.
And a lot of
Um,
people wouldn't realize with the Mondayization. Sorry, Simon, I know this is close to where you were, but this is relevant to the question. Well, with the Mondayization of public holidays, software hasn't necessarily caught up with the algorithm needed to calculate that correctly. So it is possible that people at home are either under allocated holiday hours or over allocated holiday hours, which might have the effect of being asked to return funds. And that's never nice, is it?
Asking for returning of wages or owing people is no good either way.
Yeah, and
I mean, it's just a two. Our holiday legislation and our employee legislation is just so wacky. And the Mondayization, I'm sure, doesn't help.
I go to the money stuff because I think, you know, something tells me that governments actually prefer that you're not super informed about money. That like to be able to go on the news, say things like GDP and productivity and inflation, and just have you believe what they're saying. Like I've only recently gone into like stocks and investing and Bitcoin and all that stuff, and my mind is just open. Like I don't have massive holdings; they're okay, but I more value the experience of learning about this stuff more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, there is no way a government, especially like the one we have now, where they are so concerned with being the dictators of not just policy, but culture and human behavior. They don't want any sort of financially literate population that is keen on being self-sustaining. The goal of authoritarian governments is to be completely necessary forever. So if you have a whole group of your population that know how to invest and make personal individual wealth, then that's a threat. So I mean, it's quite obvious when you know where we're heading, and what sort of direction our government wants us to take, and the education we're getting. It kind of seems intentional.
Yeah, there's just so much I could say about all that, but I think let's for now get into the wider conversation, and I'm gonna try to remember to post links as we go so people at home can follow along with us. I'm gonna suggest that I go first, Simon, only because I probably need a hand to unpack what's really going on with this first story. And this one is one from Bloomberg, where they've set out that Putin has announced that he wants hostile states to pay rubles for their gas contracts, and this is by way of Interfax. So Putin has made the announcement that Russia is only gonna accept rubles as a form of payment, Simon, and the article goes on to say that the Russian currency basically took a free fall after the sanctions. That goes without saying. I haven't seen official figures. Do you know much about this?
I was talking about this actually, with my flatmates on Friday. I actually, I don't know where I saw this on Twitter in terms of who it was from, but I did see that there was, rumors that this was going to happen, and then my flatmates were talking about it Friday afternoon, because they're from the Czech Republic, and they were laughing away about it because they just thought it was hilarious that it had gotten to this point, and that they just seem to think that is quite a pretty serious situation to find ourselves in, because countries like Germany, he just said there's no way that they'll buy ruble. they just won't. He said, there's these countries in Europe and even in America and things like that will potentially not actually will be getting gas from Russia. They'll just stop it. that there's a high likelihood that these countries sacrifice the health and safety of whole countries because of this play right here. That's what they reckon.
Excuse me, must be getting COVID. Just kidding. The article goes on to say that the punchline here is that it's potentially illegal and breaks the contract, because as with many contracts, you actually set out at the beginning what the currency is or what the nature of payment is. So it would have been clearly in the contracts that it would have been euros or US dollar or things like that. But is this a way for Putin to potentially try and stabilize the ruble, or generally the price of gas? Like what is the push here?
Yeah, I guess the push here is to stabilize the value of the ruble to keep the support of the ruling class within Russia, I guess. I imagine if you had a bit of wealth stored in Russian dollars and ruble, because you're a big private Russian oligarch or whatever you call them, you wouldn't want the price of ruble to be plummeting. So this sort of move, I guess, keeps the people around him happy, to kind of protect himself from any sort of internal counterattack.
But then,
yeah.
Isn't this just like a form of desperation? I mean, that's essentially what the article goes on to say. Like, it's not gonna happen, bro. Like, just send the gas. We'll send you money. You send the gas. Get over yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's who's going to budge? I mean, there's only one person at the end of this equation that suffers, on a serious level, and that's the people that don't get the gas, not the money.
Yeah.
So it depends on. I mean, it doesn't really matter whether it's in the contract or not. When people have got their lives on the line, you make the terms if you've got the ability to make those terms. It'll be interesting, but yeah, it could all be theatrical, like you're saying. If it's illegal and the contract's not possible, then yeah, it's completely theatrical and just to drive some market responses, to do some manipulation, to do some sort of funky maneuvers maybe when the market's open. But yeah.
The article Sorry, I was going to say, the article goes on to say that hostile states, or those that have placed sanctions on Russia, account for 70% of the purchasing from Gazprom, which is a state-owned gas company in Russia. So these countries, these people that have said bad Putin, bad Russia, they need that gas.
Yeah, it's like all of Europe, Canada. Some of America's oil comes from Russia through Canada.
That's amazing. So yeah, I just put that on the table because for me, that struck me as a savage move from a well-known savage man to say, well, if you're not going to be nice to me, I'm going to make you pay in rubles. I didn't even know what rubles were before I read that article.
Yeah, well, Friday afternoon was probably a good time to buy them.
Actually, yeah, you're not kidding. Anybody that's in the Forex business, my goodness me.
Yeah, I wonder what the opening price will be and what the difference was.
We do not provide financial advice on this stream, by the way, but I'm going to be pretty keen to look at that after the show. Actually, Simon, you've got me thinking now. You've completely thrown me. Did we just miss the financial opportunity of a lifetime?
Well, see, no, we were talking about on Friday. I definitely didn't because I don't have the disposable income to throw at some forex trades like the Rupal one. That, you know, it's kind of
Yeah.
move that Putin's trying to make. But if you had some spare cash that you didn't care about disappearing into the value of the ruble, then yeah, it could have been a real smart investment.
Oh, sorry, we're falling to pieces here. I was trying not to imagine Putin's actually.
Oh, I didn't struggle with that. That's not something I struggle with. You know, that's not doesn't often pop
No,
in.
no, I'm trying not to.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
it
anyway,
comes naturally. Yes.
back to the stories. Which one do you want first? I've
Oh,
got
just the first one.
Greg Price. That one. Yeah. Cool.
We'll see what pops up on the screen.
Yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, this is yeah. Can we you'll need good volume on this because it's just a clip, but this is one of the new judges, or the new judge, right, that Biden has nominated for the Supreme Court.
I've heard.
Mm.
I've
if you want to play,
heard black woman, the whole thing. Okay, let's play it.
mm.
Internet with one
from
click,
the beginning.
you can receive. In comes the internet. On the internet, with one click, you can receive. You can distribute tens of thousands. You can be doing this for 15 minutes, and all of a sudden, you are looking at 30, 40, 50 years in prison.
Good. Good.
I understand.
Absolutely good. I hope you are. Good.
Allow her to finish, please.
I hope you go to jail for 50 years if you're on the internet trolling for images of children and sexual exploitation. So you don't think that's a bad thing? I think that's a horrible
That's not
thing.
what the witness said, and she should be allowed.
So you have, you know, just one click of your finger, and you could just 15 minutes is all it takes. Just just one. Oops! What did I do? Oops! I've just sent a whole hard drive of kiddie porn to some all over the internet. Oops! Oh no! I've just downloaded Jeffrey Epstein's personal hard drive. Whoops! Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to. So, I mean, that was a really small clip. So I'm always cautious of not taking things out of context. But was she making the case that some people don't know that they're downloading prohibited sexual material?
She was being criticized for a light sentencing in the past for people in child sexploitation cases.
So she has a record for this, because I haven't looked too deep at this lady, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's defending her light sentencing approach.
My goodness gracious me. So you've got another clip.
Yeah, yes, the same lady.
Yeah, let's have a look at your next clip. I'll just make sure we're on the right scene, which we are not at the moment. Bear with me as I rack it up.
Spoilers.
For example, I'm an Hispanic man. Could I decide I was an Asian man? Would I have the ability to be an Asian man and challenge Harvard's discrimination because I made that decision?
Senator, I'm not able to answer your question. You're asking me about hypotheticals and
Well, I'm asking you how you would assess standing if I came in and said I have decided I identify as an Asian man.
When will my reflection show who I am inside?
So I don't know if you've seen the full version of the clip, but he goes on to ask her, what is a woman? and she says she's unable to provide a definition of a woman because she's not a biologist, but has been talking about, I can't remember if it was for her own nomination or another nomination for a different position, where she specifically mentioned the fact that the person nominated was a woman is why they would be perfect for the role. And so she's, in the past used the word woman assigned to somebody as a reason for their value, right? But then asked to then define what a woman is, could not give a value at all for the word. I think it's probably a really good, interesting discussion to have, and probably we're not the most qualified people to have. But if we want to honor people as a woman, we've got to know what that means.
So for me, I start the show one particular way every single time, whether it's a vlog I'm doing or whether it's this show, every single time. What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? Nothing else. And I didn't realize how valuable that stance would become in later years of me having the channel. There is only a man, there is only a woman. Genitalia is 98% of it, but genes would make up the other 2%. I accept that there are people called intersex, and other than that, I'm done.
It's a pretty reasonable stance. I mean,
Yeah.
not for most people, but for me at least it is.
I mean, I heard a really awesome framing about this. If we took pronouns seriously, like this whole pronoun malarkey seriously, Simon, it would be something like, so if I came into a room, you'd have to refer to me as handsome and remarkably intelligent. Every time you refer to me, ladies and gentlemen, Jade Farrar, handsome and remarkably intelligent. Like, nobody would want to do that. But we've been asked to do that in reference to gender.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really up for debate what my gender is, but if somebody somehow accidentally got mine wrong, I wouldn't be upset about it.
Like,
Somehow I was bending over getting some cereal in the supermarket, and I was wearing my yoga pants, and I bend over, and some lad comes along and says, "Oh, excuse me, ma'am," and I bend up and I say, "Oh, all good, bro. Like what you see or something," and I'm not gonna get upset if somebody thinks I'm a chick.
And here's the thing. So, the interesting thing about having a name like Jade is I send a lot of emails. And people tend to assume they're talking to a woman, unfortunately. So, like, it's actually something I come up against. But as soon as they hear me on the phone, there's no mistaking that I'm a woman at all. And so too, once you see me on the Zoom, very clear, hopefully. Very clear. So I'm all good for being misassumed for like 2 seconds with a name like Jade. Come to the territory, and I don't get weird about it. I don't get upset about it. I get really annoyed at my mother for naming me such a unique, ambiguous sort of name, but pronouns, there's no mistaking that I'm a male.
Can you imagine? There's a likelihood of a future situation happening where somebody misgenders you through an email and then gets upset at you because you didn't have your pronouns in your signature, and they were like, "How dare you traumatize me by putting me through the experience of easily misgendering you when you could have just provided your pronouns and been inclusive?" That could happen, bro.
The thing is too with that whole debate about being so scared to like really nail down what a man and a woman is. It's like it's not for me to cater to every single person's nuanced responses to their own trauma. Right, I'm all down for being respectful, and I will say that in work environments, you know, there are certain things that I would do because I'm public facing, and I try to be as respectful as I can, but I can't account for every single person's nuanced response to trauma. I'm not going to do it. People can come up to me later and say, I feel upset about this or that, and then I'm going to make a decision whether I'm into that or not. I can't do hyperdiversity. This goes back to a previous question of the day. You know, I'm all into finding out what's common, what's good, what can we talk about that's gonna bring us all along. Not what's wrong with you or whatever you think is wrong with you. That, like, I have no interest in talking about that unless they're like really close to me and I know I'm going into a conversation about that. But I wouldn't generally seek out to have conversations about what's wrong with people.
But that would, yeah, no, that's so weird. I've actually just lost the thought I was going to go.
Sorry, son.
I was waiting for you to finish and then I lost my thought. No, I'm sorry about that. What were we just talking about at the end?
What things in common? I saw you
nodding
your head
things
about.
in common.
Yeah.
I've thought about it. I've remembered it. So it's this weird. I don't even want to call it a trend, but it's just the way work is now. It's happened, I guess, over time. But because work has become such a huge part of everybody's life, there's been this change to add as much of our life into work as possible, and that means including and catering to people's personal identities and flags and behaviors and traits and all of that. You know, like work used to be a place where you left as much of yourself behind as possible to work towards the common goal of what the business was for. You know, it's very much like that. But now there's, you know, the social clubs and the mental health times and the you know, just all the surveys and the HR departments and all of that. And I think that's what you're talking about, is that they just, as a social culture, there's been this huge trend to identify yourself as some niche, tiny, little, unique version of a human. You know, to find yourself a little quirk to hyperfixate on and hyper promote as the unique characteristic of and the sole most important part of yourself. And yeah, like we've been so hyper focused to focus on what is special and unique about us that makes it so hard for us to interact with the world, you know, to filter our whole world experience through this label we put on ourselves that makes us this, you know, victim.
I think I've spelled her name wrong. Yeah, I have an extra N. Yeah. No, I really agree. Simon. And look, I say this as a small business owner myself. All right, the company does not care about you. Okay, now this could be to a lesser extent with not-for-profits and NGO charitable organisation. It is possible for them to have a bit more flexibility because they know where their money is coming from, and they can just be a little bit more chill on how they treat you. But generally speaking, I've got a private company myself, which, you know, hosts this show and a lot of other things that I do. The company does not care about you. They will replace you like this. It doesn't matter how many muffins you buy the CEO. It doesn't matter how many times you've high-fived the owner of the business. They do not care about you. It doesn't matter if they're $100,000 turnover business or $100 million. That they don't care about you. Never lose sight of that. And I'd be interested as to whether Simon would want to argue with me on that point. But
No, I just want to wholeheartedly agree with you on that. And there's only two things that matter with your role in a business. One, question: do they want to fire you? Two, can they fire you? And if they can answer that question, that's what's going to happen. You know.
Yeah.
However that happens, whether it's through dismissal or redundancy or whatever mechanism is the easiest for that business to use, that's what will happen.
Now the thing is, you might get along with the CEO. You might have lots of fun. You might even go for drinks. You might go to dinner, blah blah blah. But when it comes down to brass tacks, getting shit done, no company, no private company cares about you, and that's coming from me that's had experience in many rounds around that. You might have a shot at a charitable NGO, but even then, they've got things they need to prioritize, and it's not always a given.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, those organizations are sometimes even more beholden to their limitations, so end up being a lot more cutthroat sometimes too, because they just don't have the ability to do what they want.
No, I'd wholeheartedly agree with that. And before anyone either in the comments or hits me up later and says, "Oh, Jade, are you just speaking on some trauma or whatever?" No, like it's fine.
This is just reality.
Yeah,
this is just the reality. It's how it be.
No, like I'm really pleased to be able to say that whenever I've moved out of a situation, the situation has always benefited me. Yeah, there's never been a situation where I haven't totally benefited or known what I'm going to do next. That is to say, though, I don't mean to minimize people that have, really been burnt or been made redundant after 50 years. I can't imagine the kind of scope of the emotional impact it would have. But I'm just being really authentic. I come from a place of obviously worked for people in the past and being a business owner myself. Don't get emotional about the place you work. Do whatever is in scope for your role. Do that to the best of your abilities so that you can pump up your CV and figure out, always have in mind what your next move is, whether that's to go work for a bigger firm or a much more expanded and well-paid role, or maybe you're ready for the startup life, which is the life I chose, and it can be really rock and roll at times, but it's still fun.
Yep. No, I mean, I don't know what else to say, because we've said it all pretty well in terms of the whole employment thing. Yeah, you need to have some idea of where you're heading and what your options are, because there's no point feeling any sort of security in your current job.
But I want to go back to one thing you said. I know you just said we've covered the employment thing really well. I don't agree with them, but one thing you said, and I don't necessarily want to make this about you, so we can just talk in general terms. But you said there seems to be more of an expectation to bring your life into work. Now, again, don't want to make it about you, but can you just give me some insight into what you're meaning?
Well, I was making it in terms of how you were having to deal with how people express trauma.
Yeah.
And for the most recent of our history, there was this accepted this way of working where you left all of your personality pretty much
Yeah.
behind at work, and none of that stuff was included. It didn't matter what sort of person you like to have in your bed next to you. You know, you were at work. What the fuck does that have to do with how you treat your colleagues? But you know, that's the thing now. You need to make sure you have a pride-friendly, you know, office space and work environment. But you know, back when the first offices were being built and filled with staff, that wasn't even a consideration. So that's what I was talking about. And that
Oh yeah.
there
yeah.
is a bigger expectation that parts of you and your identity are included and acknowledged in your workplace. And it's like, is that necessary and appropriate?
And then, of course, people that know us well, outside of this show, would say, Jade and Simon are a walking contradiction because they met and became good mates at work. That is
Yeah.
true.
But we didn't go, oh, hey, I'm a straight white male. Nice to meet you, you brown disabled person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally. Totally. We bonded through the 5 or 10 minutes that was spared through the day that we could talk about something other than work. So even on that basis, we did not bond through work. We got there. We were known for getting things done. We started up an amazing project, which is still live to this day, and yeah, it's all good.
Exactly.
So, Simon, final thoughts? I mean, you didn't really get into those were some hyper snippets of the judge. She's basically, from what I know, and this is why we call the show Here's What We Know, because I'll tell you what I know. She's been appointed because she will be, nominated, because she will be the first black woman in American history to serve on the Supreme Court. Is that correct?
I believe that is the case, yes. That is the position she's going for. Biden's given her his nomination, right? He's given her the tip of the hat.
And you started by saying she's soft on things like child exploitation. That's not great.
Yeah, the kind of stuff that was found on Hunter Biden's laptop.
Oh my goodness. I wasn't actually aware of that. So there was content to that effect?
Yeah. Not verified, of course, because nobody's going to go and say, oh yeah, no, that is a legitimate picture. You know, there's always going to be a smidge of doubt of whether it's legitimate or not, but yeah, no, there's definite. I have seen the picture of a Hunter Biden holding the hand of a little child in lingerie. I don't know if it's a legitimate photo, but I've seen it. You know, I've seen it.
I'm guessing you didn't get that from mainline internet.
It was on Twitter.
You're kidding.
No, it's just someone posted it on Twitter.
So you did get it from mainline internet. Jeez. Jeez, and Twitter did what? Absolutely nothing, I suppose.
Yeah, I just saw it once and didn't really think too much of it.
Oh yeah, no, just the fact that this thing exists on Twitter. That's what I'm being mind blown about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no way I'd be able to find it, and I'm definitely not going to be searching.
Don't look it up, bro. Don't look it up. But how about we move into final thoughts? Sounds like your dog is back once again.
Oh yeah, I can't tell if you guys can hear that or not because I was looking at my microphone spike to see. Yeah. Apologies, fam.
Oh, I might let you go first, Simon. Final thoughts for this week?
Yeah. Final thoughts. I mean, here in New Zealand, some of the mandates are being lifted. Vaccine passes is getting the boot. I mean, things are heading in the right direction.
Hold on. No, they ain't. Businesses can choose to use them. I was going to talk to you about this. Should we
Oh,
just,
yeah.
should we just have a quick
No.
chat now about it? So,
No, we don't have to. I mean, I was just making a generalization that things are changing. I wasn't
yeah.
I wasn't making the point to like get into the specifics, because essentially what I was going to say is that it doesn't fucking matter, right? Like, until the Public Health Act is gone, and that mandates like this, and the fact that, you know, police can come into your house and pull you from your home if you are positive and that you're deemed a public health risk and need to go isolate in a quarantine camp. If that's still a legitimate thing that the police can do and the government can do to us, you know, I'm not happy in terms of rolling back the COVID response. But what's happened is going to improve, hopefully, my daily life a little bit. I think most businesses are keen to ditch away with all of the COVID stuff, because it just, their staff morale, you know, like people that's just so over it that if they're gonna look to be like they're including more hassle than need be, then their staff are gonna fall away. Anyway, yeah, I mean, things are looking good, but on a macro level, in terms of the whole world, this whole buying gas and rubles thing could just instantly fuck over the whole Europe continent in terms of their food and power supply. So just keep an eye out for that, and just, yeah, don't believe everything you see on TV.
Yeah, and my final thought would extend from a comment I've only just recently made. Don't get too precious about your work environment. And actually, you know, I think if you really pay attention to what creates billionaires, it's people that go, stuff this, I'm out. But they build a team of people they actually like and can sustain a working relationship with on their own terms, and they build $1 billion businesses. Now, I know the percentage of people doing that is very low, but what I will say is, even with the percentage being super low, like 0.1% of all people having the opportunity to make a business like that, the formula seems to be exactly the same. They say, fuck this, I'm out, and you know, within a 10-year period, they've built what starts out as a really unknown small startup business, and then it becomes as fundamental to everyday life, such as Uber. There was a point in time where Uber was just this company that people heard of, and it was like a really niche idea to take a ride from strangers. And now, you know, businesses are signing corporate accounts to enable all their managers to take Ubers without asking. And that, to me, is flippin' amazing.
It's called industry disruption right there.
Exactly. And as always, I want to thank you for watching, listening to the show, wherever you're getting it at. Please consider following, subscribing, clicking whatever button the platform is encouraging you to click.
Don't click that one button that could send tens of thousands of child images.
Yeah, whichever button that is. Click like, leave a comment. Simon and I would be more than happy to get feedback. Last thing I want to say, if you've got an idea for someone to interview, a guest we could potentially have on the show, feel free to let us know about that as well, and we can look at getting them on. And they can either be with our views or against our views. We're actually all open to everything. But for now, thank you for being a part of the channel. Thank you for being a part of the journey. Please stay awesome. And Simon?
We'll see you all in the next one. Bow.